I think there's a whole bunch of people that have never listened to the game ever in their entire life, and
Who
this
are now listening to him.
who now are privy to him because he's on a Kanye song.
And he's on a huge Kanye song too. Like clearly this video everybody was talking about.
The game was one of the biggest rappers in in hip hop at one point. Has made mad platinum songs. And if anybody's unfamiliar with the game, he's done this forever. Like he's never not name drop people. Like he name drops people in every single song, just like Eminem used to name drop people all the time. Like that's kind of like what he does. The Game is a great rapper. He's made great music. I still listen to old Game stuff from the documentary album, and that's just what he does. He just says stuff like that. Like I don't even think that he believes the things that he says. He just says things.
For shock value.
Because like he said that because he did a Drink Champs interview recently. I didn't get to watch it yet, but some of the clips and quotes came out. He said that he feels like he's a better rapper than Eminem. But like last year, he said that he would never go against Eminem because he destroys people. So I think he just says things, and then, it's just one of those things with the internet. People just, oh, the game's crazy, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, all that is just giving more, promotion to the game. And I'm sure people don't understand how that works. But now there's people that aren't familiar with him are like, who's the Game? They're gonna go back and now listen to all his music, and that's all.
And his
just
Verse Easy was like decent. So
it's all just going back into his pocket as money. So people would take these things too seriously, I think.
Yeah, and like you can't really say that about Dr. Dre because like Kanye's a more popular rapper, more popular person in this day and age. So it's like there was no internet, and there was no when Dr. Dre was like kind of up and coming and like at his peak. So it was like, of course, you're getting more exposure because you're with Kanye, who's literally like trending right now, So it's like it's kind of messed up to say about Dr. Dre.
No, he doesn't. I know, but I'm saying he doesn't feel that way.
No, yeah, I'm saying
I don't know him, but
but I'm saying just saying it though in general was dumb.
He's always said stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean Dr. J's probably like, oh, he's just talking again.
It's just one of those things because that used to always happen. Like
his interview just came out. Ooh, I don't really care to watch it honestly.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm not a fan of him. Never really was. The reason how I even found out about the Game was when he was dating India Love. Shocker. And he was doing things to her outside on grass. Do you remember those pictures that came out? Mm-hmm. Nasty. Wasn't their age gap pretty big too? Mm-hmm. Creeps.
Yeah. So I probably won't watch it, but there is a whole new audience of kids that have no idea who these people are. And I know that's crazy to some people because like the documentary came out in 2005, right? My brother is 18. He's about to be 19 this year. And he was born in 2003. So for context, he was 2 years old when the documentary came out. He's familiar with Game because he's just good at understanding music. Yeah. But you could understand how somebody born in 2003 or 4,
doesn't know who he is.
Wouldn't necessarily know.
That's what I'm saying, how my story is, how I knew who he was. Like I always knew who he was because I've heard his stuff and he's been around. But I didn't really my first real memory of who he was as a person, his face and his name was that India Love stuff.
There's also like people need to understand too, like there's a whole different audience where they might not like I think everybody has this where one day they listen to certain music and all of a sudden they're exposed to this whole other world. And like sometimes what that exposure is completely different. I'm sure Kanye and Lil Pump, when Kanye made I Love It, I'm sure that even though Kanye is a global icon, superstar phenomenon, I know that put a bunch of kids into the perspective.
And that's where Kanye is smart, because he maintains that relevancy because he does stuff like that. He works with younger artists. He works with popular artists. Like him working with Cardi is no coincidence.
Like
he wants to tap into that thing. And obviously he's shoes and stuff make it popular. But
another example is with Travis with the Fortnite thing. I had no idea that the Fortnite deal would have been as big as it was.
That kid that died at Astroworld only knew Travis because of Fortnite,
which is
sad,
crazy to me because clearly we were, I was listening to Travis when I was
like 17,
and I'm 25 now, so it's like almost 10 years. And within that gap, you see how many new fans come from one thing that happened. So now it's like,
because when I first started listening to Travis, it was kind of around when you put me on, and like I already knew who he was, but I really you was a huge bigger fan, so like you obviously put me on more because I was listening to the music in your dorm. A lot of people were fans of him until Antidote.
Yeah.
Like when that song popped, I was like, "Oh, here it goes."
But even in that, and even with that, still, it's like
that was still he was on one hit wonder kind of level at that point. Like people were like, "Okay, he had one hit, now what?" And then he blew up.
but even within that, it's like still so secluded because like you take someone like Young Thug that had so many like what we would consider hits,
Yeah.
but then he gets on that song with Camila Cabello, Havana, and now that blows him up even more. Where it was a crowd that nobody would have ever listened to Young Thug, and
Yeah,
that's kind of
even
like,
when we saw Travis in 2017, we were in our minds we thought he was huge. That was a small venue. I mean, it sold out quickly, but that's because he had a cult following. But that was a small venue. Look how quickly things changed when Astro World came out and he started dating Kylie.
yeah.
Because Kylie put him on the huge thing. That's why everybody was trying to make the joke about Nicki having beef with Stormy. No, Nicki was right though. She was saying how like you use the Kardashians and Stormy's coming to Astro World to sell records, and then that got included in your opening week sound. Like,
As he should have.
no, but that was because he was selling hoodies and that was contributed towards sales. That was what her issue was. Like concert tickets and
No, I know what her issue was.
yeah, and as you should. Yeah, but I think her issue was because Stormy's coming, so now that that gets people coming to buy your merch and buy tickets, and then all that stuff is getting included in sales. That was what her problem was.
I think her real problem was that she just couldn't sell more, to be honest. Because no, hear me out. If she sold more while Travis was still doing that, she would have never said anything about it.
But she always spoke out about
But
artists. I mean, the sales not being like, because she grew up like she started popping off in an era when there was still physical CDs. So I think she just still has a passion about that. About like, like how, I worked hard. I really came up. And Travis did too. Like we've seen the videos of him working hard and like having his little concerts and nobody was there. So I'm not saying that he wasn't kind of on the end of that era too. But it's saying like, dang, now we're in a time where Travis could get up here and say Stormy's coming, or Kylie could get up on here and say Stormy's coming to the show. And now all the people that come buy the tickets to the concert, those concert tickets aren't getting included in sales. It's kind of messed up. Even if it benefits her, I think she still thinks it's messed up. So I don't think she, like, for me, it doesn't feel fake with her, like, because she grew up in that era of, like, and was making music in that era where still CDs, where people still had to go buy her mixtape, and she was in the streets selling mixtapes.
The only thing I might have to look is if because she's done that before.
She's on her.
The bundles, and that's why I was, like, kind of confused, too. Like, I'm even...
But is that her label that pushes her to do the bundles, or is that her decision?
Well, at the end of the day, your label can't your label. So the labels can tell you what to do, but they like kind of can't at the same time. Like
they can't force you.
Like they can't force you to like sell bundles or like sell merch. Like they can't force you to do those things unless you're in a 360. Then they can do whatever they want.
I thought she was in 360 at first.
Yeah, she.
No, maybe not. I could have swore I heard that she was at first, but I think she's been out of it. Maybe
I would assume so. Well, how much money she has, she probably is not.
I mean, she's up there with the highest paid.
Now, let me see, right? Because this is August 2018.
Yeah, that's when he started popping.
Travis Scott used merch to beat out Nicki Minaj on the charts. August 15, 2018, Nicki Minaj is selling $5 bundle, including Queen poster, album, and something.
What were those bundles included in sales?
And free title sale, title trial. Yeah, there always is. Because it came with the album, so it counts as album sales. I just think it didn't work because Khaled, I think, had the same issue, and it just didn't work for them because they don't. Travis is just good at selling T-shirts, so I could understand. You might think that's an unfair advantage because we know him for fashion.
Yeah, and he works with Virgil. So didn't Virgil design his merch?
Yeah, but the bundle thing was definitely not created by Travis, and everybody's done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of an unfair advantage, though. Like, you look at the charts and it's like, oh, Travis beat Nicki. But then you look at most of the sales that he made wasn't even people buying the album. It was people buying merch and Stormy pillows.
The funny part is I think that's even more impressive.
Yeah, but then don't include that in sales of the music. Include that in something else. And then have him rank high in that, you know? There should be a difference. They should split it up. Because, like, it is kind of crazy to look at that sales and be like, wow, you sold that many units and, like, 80% of that is your music store. That's like when I was telling you the example about, like, from an accounting perspective, that if you look at McDonald's books, you're like, oh, wow, McDonald's brought in $200 million. But then 100 million or 150 million of that is through their real estate ventures. It's like McDonald's sells burgers. Why are they making most of their money from real estate? That's how I feel about it. Because, like, you're a musician. Why is your music sales? They say, the sales of your music, and you look at the details of it, and majority of those sales is merch, hoodies, concert tickets.
This is a loose example, but then the same thing that she fought for with, she's the reason why artists get paid for their streams, basically.
Yeah, because she pushed for it.
we shouldn't then consider streams as being equivalent to album sales either then.
Yeah.
Because why is me listening to a 10-song equivalent to the sale of an album? I didn't buy the album.
That's why streaming low-key did mess up the game. Because it was so much easier to be like, I sold 40,000 CDs today.
It's Steve Jobs' fault.
Yeah. With
But
the
it kind of,
with the iPod?
it's not his fault, but it's kind of his fault. But yeah, with iTunes.
Yeah, when he invented iTunes, yeah. But even with iTunes,
still
though,
counted.
it was still you buying the album. You still had to buy the album for it to get added to your iTunes list. But then that created a whole world of LimeWire.
But you used to not be able to buy individual songs. So when you went to go, if you liked a song, you had to buy the whole album. So it always counted as an album sale. You couldn't buy a specific
Now you
track
can
off
buy
an
a
album.
song.
You couldn't buy a specific song off an album.
And then Apple Music Spotify, all these
the
streaming
stuff
services.
just took it out of here. But which is funny because back in the day, you kind of could, but just buy one song because when it was on vinyl, vinyl is like limited, so you can't put 100 songs on a vinyl because it's a physical thing with scratches in it. Like you have to only do that. So when you got a vinyl, you might have only had X amount of songs.
But then how did that count then as music sales?
It counted as a full
album?
Well, yeah, because I think what they did was they counted them as so it used to be 2 discs. Like there would be, I have to look into that actually. That's a good point. It used to be 2 sides to the disc. Sometimes it might be 5 songs on one, 5 songs on the other, 10 on one, whatever the division was. But sometimes they only put one song on one side and then another song on another. I wonder how that worked.
Yeah,
it probably counted as one.
Maybe it is counted as one. Like if the album has 16 songs, they counted as 1/16 of a sale.
Yeah, they changed the music rules so much. Did you know that back in the day, not even that long ago, so I don't even want to say back in the day, like during our lifetime, 90s? During our lifetime in the early 2000s, they used to only pay artists for like, if you had an album that was 17 songs, they would only consider an album to be something like 10 songs, and then everything after the 10th song, you wouldn't get paid for at all. Like you couldn't get royalties on it.
So the artists usually make their songs 10 songs, albums 10 songs? Yeah,
or whatever the number was. Some people did, but some people wanted it to be artistic and they wanted to just make their music. Crazy. That's crazy, right?
I don't understand why the rules have ever been so complicated. Just let people make money for their art. Like that seems so simple, but that's why like Black people always like we have these conversations that we need to push to have our own things. I mean, this doesn't just affect Black people, so it affects all races. But I just like people just need to like put the power back in their own hands and just create their own things. That's what Kanye's trying to do with the STEM player. But it's like you just need to create your own production companies. Like things just get so like greedy. And people want to make money off of other people's actually hard work.
The failure of Tidal, and by failure, Tidal's doing fine, but I mean in the sense that
it didn't do what it was supposed to.
The people that were invested in it, and I think Jay-Z said this, or somebody said this, where Tidal, the whole concept behind it was just a bunch of rich people on stage that are all multimillionaires saying, hey, we want to own our own stuff and make more money. That Tidal was probably the best shot at that happening. And Tidal still
tried.
Tidal still pays people the most. And he tried, and people still didn't just want to.
It's mostly our people too.
We have enough capital to put forth. Like this is my whole thing with the STEM player. I love the STEM player idea. I think it's amazing. Drake just bought an $85 million mansion. Why can't people make their own streaming service and get paid 100%?
Like why not? Yeah, like is that not dumb too? Like why would you like? Everybody's so selfish. Like okay, whatever. I don't make all my money from music. I'm gonna go start do a collab with Adidas or Nike and make money from there. Like no one just wants to be like get it. Like you know how much money Kanye made off the STEM player? Like millions.
You know how much money?
More money. Like he did the breakdown too about how many streams you would need to equate to what he just made in like a day.
Yeah, he sold 2,000.
It's like 500 million streams,
which was
or something.
2 million or something like that. Yeah.
Crazy, and people don't get 500 million streams.
He think he making money off Adidas. If you are able to build a streaming platform where people could get money, like SoundCloud is in my opinion, and no disrespect to SoundCloud, because there was I don't want to talk negative about SoundCloud, but like SoundCloud is probably one of the most important cultural pieces in music ever.
Yeah.
But so I was gonna say something negative, but I don't even want to bring them up anymore. But if everybody pulled their money together, or just had different investors, but like really like be it serious, like no, this is no bunch of rich people. Hey guys, come buy, come give us all your money. It's not like that. Was the wrong position that they took at Tidal. Like that marketing campaign was bad. if everybody came together, put their money together as investors, or actually legitimately reach out to people that really do this, because Spotify was built from people that really do the business, that like their whole job is business. Like their job is to build companies. Like Elon just told Kanye, I don't do deals, I build shit. Like
Yeah.
we need somebody that builds something to come in as an investor and be like, okay, well, this is what we need to do. This is the layout.
And they have so much money that they could probably easily buy someone out from another company. I mean, that's kind of grimy.
No, they should build it from scratch. Like literally build it from scratch.
And that's the thing too, like especially like Black people, we know like the culture, we know what people want and what people like and what's cool, you know? Like, no offense, but a lot of these nerdy ass people that work at these companies, they don't know what the people really want. They don't know what's cool.
They see numbers.
And they figure it out sometimes, but you know, they have correspondents, like social media correspondents, and these kids that they got on the streets trying to see what people want. But a lot of times they don't know what people want. So why not have actually people who know what people want, build a system for what people want, like make it cool. Like that's why like Spotify got people with that whole rap thing. Like that's cool. Like people like that, and Apple misses the mark when it comes to that. Their rap thing is like mid. So it's like have people though who actually know what people like and what people want, and make your own streaming thing. That's why I feel like Kanye, he should have went a step forward and not just made the STEM player, but made it like a streaming site. Also, like a streaming service, because that's what I thought. I thought with STEM player you would be able to go on STEM player's website, buy the album, and listen to it without actually having a physical STEM player. Because the STEM player is cool, and like I like how it looks and I like how it's small, but it kind of feels like I don't want another thing to listen to music on. And two, like I'm not interested in mixing stems. Like I'm not a DJ, I'm not a producer, so I'm not really into that. So it's like I don't necessarily want to buy that just to listen to music on when I have a phone, you know? Like I would prefer if he had it where I could go on stemplayer.com, buy the album from stemplayer.com. And I feel like he needs to create a streaming service. I feel like the STEM player should have been separate from
and also
from the streaming.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's right.
We also need someone that, and this sounds kind of weird, but we need somebody that also doesn't care about the sale of their own music. And what I mean by that is that Kanye is doing the STEM player implementation for his own personal benefit and not for the benefit necessarily of the industry, because you can't get anybody else's stuff on there, right?
This is for him.
It needs to be your betterment will come from the success of this company. So when you put in your money, you will eventually see a return from that. But your venture should not be just to solely benefit yourself. It should be to benefit everyone. And when you benefit everyone, you benefit yourself even more. Because you build a company like Spotify, you could build that company to be worth $50 billion, and then your stake in it would be more than what you did if you were doing it by yourself. Mm-hmm. Like basically they need to make SoundCloud, but like better. Like to like take what SoundCloud did wrong or poorly and just make it better. SoundCloud is the only music platform where anyone can just upload their song in not even 30 seconds. When I put a song on SoundCloud, it's up there in 10 seconds. Yeah. Edited, ready to go, it's out of here. I have to go contact third-party sources, even for this podcast, to put stuff on Apple and Spotify and everything else. Why is that? Why can't we have artists?
It's kind of like how we were just talking about, we was watching the GameStop documentary the other day, and how a company like Robinhood, it was innovative because they came up with a app or a website where you could instantly buy stock. Like they said, people feel like they was playing a game.
Yeah, like, you just swipe up and casino. You throw it out of there.
So it's like, why not create something that take over and actually change the rules? Like Robinhood changed everything, like you said, with the transaction prices and everything that used to be required when you bought stock. Why not change the game? And like we watched that Kanye Black Future Month brunch thing, and like you see how everybody is there and they have the ideas and they're like, what's next? And I feel like that's where we miss the mark all the time, especially as Black people. We always have these great ideas and have these subgroups of great ideas, but we never could come together and actually like implement it. Like it's almost the same thing with the running joke about how we never could have a successful girl trip or a trip in general. Black people, like, it's like a rare thing. I don't know what it is with us and why we can never just get it together as a group. Like it's like this jealousy, crabs in a barrel thing, and nobody ever really wants to help.
I think it's that, but I also think it's like the optic. Like we care about the optics of it. Like it looks cool. Like people want to, regular people, and by regular, everyone's regular. But by regular people, I mean people that aren't in the industry. people want to go to the Rock Nation brunch because they want to be just around the celebrity and the.
We care about the look.
Everybody cares about the look.
And that's still maybe something linked to maybe white supremacy and slavery and just feeling like we made it and like the whole bougie, like we lit, like nobody really, you know, they're almost like the white approval thing. Like we feel like we up there and we made it.
And like you just said, when they were talking about the brunch, it's like somebody asked, like, what's next?
Yeah, what's next?
We
How do we
came here
actually-
and talked, so now what are we actually going to do? Because it's throwing a bunch of ideas with no action is not going to do
And
anything.
they all kind of were like, we could do something. Like you could tell they didn't have a plan. They were just like,
Yeah, let's just come here and sit here and talk.
and it sounds good, but like let's actually build the stuff. Like who we hiring? All right, who's the engineer? Who anybody know any black people in STEM? Like let's actually build this. And there's plenty of black people in STEM like that all over the world. Plenty of black people in tech.
And
there's so many people that could actually get these things together, but nobody just ever implements anything. Like
I'm also speaking at a broader point too, not just specific to like a race. Like I'm just saying in general with
just music industry.
with building your own things, because the reason why most people build their own companies is not because they want to necessarily provide a service. Like they kind of build them for the purpose of making money, which everybody should.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, do you want I need to think of a great example because it would really drive it home. Like, do you want someone to like, would you want the creator of Burger, like the CEO of Burger King, to also then simultaneously sell you pharmaceutical drugs?
Mm-mm.
You wouldn't, because it's just weird. Like you wouldn't want somebody that has that's not a that doesn't
like
believe in
specialized.
physical training. Like if they've never done physical training, then become your trainer at the gym. Like you wouldn't want someone that's not vested in your purpose. Like,
how do you feel like someone fat being a doctor?
I think there's a lot of that one's. I do know what you mean by that.
Someone
I
got
think
mad the other day when somebody said that like being fat that don't mean nothing. You guys are wrong. I'm like,
yeah, there's
I mean,
a lot
they're
of
not
variables.
nutritionists. They're not nutritionists.
There's a lot of variables with that one, because like, you know, if you're working longer hours, sometimes you can't get to a meal, so the things that you eat are fast food. There's a lot
It's
of
like
variables.
it doesn't mean that they're not educated and knowing what to do. They just might not practice it.
Yeah, mostly just trying to say, like, we need somebody that's invested, that actually cares about the art that is making these companies, not people that are in the business
just
of
for money
making
or
money.
just for-
Because Universal did not start as Universal Music. They started as
Movies.
part of the reason why they're Universal is because they do everything. But Universal Movies,
Yeah.
like, and then they just happened to trickle into music. Like Warner Brothers was, you know, they had Bugs Bunny,
Yeah.
and then they just said, you know, let's do music too.
Yeah. All these top music dogs literally started out in movies.
Sony wasn't.
Yeah. Sony was.
Well, Sony had the Walkman. They've always kind of been in.
Well, they were just sound.
Yeah.
Like more they started in hardware.
Yeah. Sony. Yeah.
Speakers,
Sony.
headphones.
mhm.
But then, I mean, that makes sense though. You're in the music, you're in the industry of sound.
Yeah. It's close.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just kind of one of those things. We need people that care about the art of it and want people to get paid from their art. And that's why, you know, things like Patreon and all those kind of platforms are great, because that
And
like just
Cameo.
puts the money back into the creators. And if everybody did that, then labels wouldn't exist and everyone would be
Even
able to eat.
OnlyFans. Like OnlyFans
great.
doesn't take that much off. I mean, they still take money, but you
And they
kind of
should.
have to. Like unless you build your own platform and you have your own site, then you kind of have to expect people to take money.
Yeah, and they should.
That's why what was the thing before OnlyFans was like Snapchat Premium.
Mm-hmm.
Snapchat wasn't taking a cut because Snapchat's not made for that. Like the other people actually were making their own money 100% because like, people were just sending them money through Cash App or whatever. But
Yeah, even with companies, like I'm not even mad at like companies taking a
yeah, they
percentage.
should.
They should,
They
because
built
they have
it
to.
and they need to make money. Yeah,
they need to keep it
and
going.
they came up with
'cause
the idea.
if they don't take a piece, then the platform is gonna be gone.
Yeah.
So
Someone
I'm
gotta keep it running.
yeah. So
It's just about how much they take, and like these artists, like, and that's the funny thing. Artists know how badly they're getting like R word by streaming, and then they still aren't making a change. They're just content with it. They feel like they got their a few million from their label, like so they feel like they made it. It's like no, you didn't really make it. Like you not at all.
yeah, there's definitely money missing.
Like, why not make what you're worth? Like, that's just sick to me. Like, why would you not want to make what you're actually worth and what you're actually bringing in? Like, do you not feel sick looking at those checks and realizing that, like, you don't even get, like, half?
Well, they a lot of people literally don't know.
Which, because like I said, they don't know about money. They don't know
But also
about business either.
the music industry is purposefully confusing because you have to go and figure out where your money was divided by. They don't say your check is gross pay.
Well, can't you request that? Like let's say like I got famous for music, am I right? And I'm pretty educated in like money, and I asked them, hey, can you guys give me like expenses, like a line item? Give me line items. Can you guys do a line by line breakdown?
You could.
But people don't ask for that because they don't understand what that means.
Yeah, and they're also gonna start.
I would be like, let me see.
Because people don't have like people that like audit those sorts of things. So like, when money's missing, it's like most likely they're gonna come back to you, and then they're gonna start fudging stuff. Like money is gonna be like, oh well, we had to pay for this, we had to pay for that. But that's why you have to literally track out all your expenses, because like it gets hard where
they just know people aren't gonna ask though. That's the main thing.
They're gonna be like, well, we paid engineer, because they'll come back. Like, of course, they're still a company and they could get audited and sued. They're not indestructible. They're gonna come back and say, well, we paid the engineer X amount.
Yeah, it's the studio time.
It's for studio time.
Gas
and
for the
tour bus and all that stuff is gonna come out.
Maintenance.
And trying to get it down to the cent. Of course, they track it all because they're public companies.
Makes sense because that's what the labels afford. They provide those things because most people can't afford that outright. They can't afford a team that's gonna dance for them on stage. They can't afford the costumes. They can't afford hairstylists and makeup artists and a tour bus. So it's like it makes sense. That's what the whole point of the label is. And it's like you have to pay those people. I get that, but they do take a lot more, I feel like, than they need to.
In addition to that, too, like. Sometimes money goes missing. Yeah. Like you see when you were doing your thing, 77 million just went missing.
Yeah. Like, and that's like, we're a huge company.
And you have to, sometimes you have to ask.
I had to ask around. I didn't have to ask personally, but my manager said like, where is this?
In that instance, it's different because you're an artist, you're a contractor, you're not an employee. So like they don't.
Yeah, that didn't affect me. I was like, all right, 70 million is missing. I'm going to sleep.
You have to ask them.
I'm going to figure it out tomorrow.
Like Big Sean was talking about, 4 million was missing. You gotta ask for that. Like, although you should just get your money, sometimes you gotta go track it down. Unfortunately,
and it is kind of messed up though that people do take advantage of that though, and then they do try to take that money off you because they don't think you're gonna look for it. That's kind of evil.
Yeah. So that is the state of the music industry.
Why can't people just be honest? I know we're all humans and we're all in a hunting gathering world and. No one really cares about each other, I feel like, as much as they pretend to do.
It's just how we are.
I feel like people really don't care for others as they pretend. Like,
I don't think anybody...
I don't want to get political, but even with the Ukraine stuff, like, everybody's all like, oh, so sad. I don't think you can really care. I think you're just saying that for likes. You're saying that to sound like you're have sympathy. Like, not saying that people are evil, but I feel like a lot of people don't care as much as they truly do or pretend to care.
Yeah, of course.
They just want to sound political activists. They want to get their stamps of approval from their peers that they post on their story and that they look like they really care. And that here's the links. Donate. Did you even donate? I doubt it. Like all the people that have donated for Black Lives Matter. Like why? Why'd you donate? What are you donating for? Okay, yeah, $1 million is gonna stop the cops from shooting us. Like people don't even know why they try to be active. They just want to look like they're doing something.
Yeah, and that's it.
But if I tweet right now, so is it too late? Like, if I say, is it too late to talk about, or is it early enough to talk about how you guys all donated to Black Lives Matter? Like idiots. Unfollow. Because I had this one person, an old friend of mine, that like made this tweet like, oh, if you didn't donate, you're part of the problem. Cause I didn't donate to Project Blue, a democratic movement. Did you even know where your money went? The Black Lives Matter movement has to do with Black lives mattering and not getting killed by cops and protesting that and getting police reform. So what exactly does donating do? And why is your money going to Project Blue? And what is Project Blue? Let me know, since I should have donated. Let me know. Because I did my research, clearly. I'm like, Project Blue? And all that's right on the website, too. When people click those links, no one reads that. They're like, I donated $10 today. I'm a good citizen. Yeah, your money went towards campaigns. Cause that's the whole point. Like, that's why the left and like, see, I sound like the people from Fox. That's why the Democrats can do, the left and the
We were
right.
talking about the music industry.
No, but sorry. But that's why like the Democrats like they took over that movement because they, you know, like I said, the Democrats try to hijack a lot of that stuff so the money could go towards elected officials that are gonna make those changes. No, they not. They put that money right in their pocket, bought some seafood, went to Aruba. Like, what do you got to pay the campaign to get on a bus and hold up posters, talk into a microphone? But anyway, sorry, what's the word? We said I
Digress.
digress. I was about to say digest. I digress.
Get your hand off the mic.
Because it's annoying. It looks cricket.